RJ, your topic, and then we'll wrap things up.
So, this is a little bit inside baseball, but I think it can be applied to people overall. Because if you're in the credit card community, if you're thinking about credit cards a lot, you have to separate what interests you for your personal self and what is interesting in the space. So, I wanted to ask both of you, we all have our likes and dislikes, but there's news that doesn't personally touch our strategy or us, but is interesting, right? Like I find the CSR news interesting. I am almost certainly never going to have a CSR. I have to talk about it on this podcast, lives, in the chat. I have to know this information to be able to be a member of this community and have any ability to talk about it. We all have this, right? And some things we bow out of and some things we don't. But you have to keep at least some semblance of a finger on a pulse of the sort of space at large, right? If you didn't know Capital One bought Discover, that's a hard road to go to have credit card conversations, right? So, Lonnie, I'm going to go to you first. How do you put that firewall up? How do you navigate things that don't personally touch you, but you have to know to be a good steward in the credit card community? How do you handle all of that?
Is this my credit card response to Apple WWDC today? Do I need
Apparently.
to be able to justify that? Like, it's well, I'll put it like this because you already mentioned Capital One. So I don't have Capital One, never had a Capital One card, not interested in one. Sorry, Matt, I don't have a Wells Fargo card, not interested in one. Right? But the thing is that just because it's not for you doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay attention. One, paying attention can be your crystal ball to what's coming down on the pipeline because when one makes ripples, something else makes waves. And what I mean when I say that is we know for a fact that these credit card companies watch YouTube and they pay attention into what's trending, what's the word on the street, and they use us as credit card creators and the broader community to be like, hey, this is looking really positive, or this is not looking really positive, which is why we'll hear rumors. And then that's not officially what happens later because they probably changed it. They're like, yo, this is bad. We see Built do it quite often. Matt, we don't need to go in there, but Built does. They do. They listen and then they adjust. We know that.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, if we go back to Capital One and this whole lounge thing, now, granted, it could change before the official effective date because look at people are on
Delta.
YouTube saying, I have Capital One, it's over. I'm going to cancel my card when that time comes up. And they might call your bluff, to be completely honest, be like, all right, let's just see what happens. And then if they get a influx of people canceling, when is it? February, I think. When they
Yep.
get a influx of people canceling come February or when their accounts roll over, they'll be like, hey, maybe we should go back to the drawing board because this is hurting our business. But the other thing is look at their competitors. What if Chase, for example, was going to be like, yo, we're going to do the exact same thing? And they're like, yo, that did not work out well for Capital One. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. Competitors steal from each other all the time. Look at what Southwest Airlines used to be and what they are today, how they started and where they are today. And that came from keeping up with the Joneses and competition, stealing what works and getting rid of what doesn't. Look at what Chase is doing compared to Amex, stealing what works, getting rid of some things that have not worked. And so, to answer your question, RJ, I don't necessarily think it's even if you're not interested or it's not for you, that you can 100% not at least pay attention. You should at least be in the know. If you want to be a discerning user, consumer in this space, you should at least know. And to the point of, like I said, Capital One is not a bad card. Venturex, that is. It's not a bad card. It's just not the right good card for me. It's not a good card for Lonnie. I can give you a list of pros about that card that have nothing to do with me. but could be great for someone else. And I think that's what's the most important aspect is just paying attention. And for me, it's always paying attention to the competition because Capital One might not be an Amex, it might not be a Chase, but that doesn't mean just because one person tilts their head up to see who's above them that someone else can't tilt their head down and see who's below. Yo, we might be in spot number 2, but person in number 5 is now number 4. What are they doing before they take our spot over? You know what I mean? And so it's one of those types of things. The credit card companies are doing it. They're paying attention. Talked about Built 2.0. Where's 2.0 at? Why? Because they're still paying attention, baking it out so that they have a competitive edge in this space. They came out strong. They can come out strong in the second half, Matt. They can. I have faith. I'm not going to say I'm not going to put my last dollar in Vegas on it, but they can.
So you're not going to be the FedEx founder and just bet the company one night.
If I see Ankar in Vegas, I know things have gotten rough.
Yup. I do find it funny. They're sitting there redesigning Build 2.0. How do we make sure Matt doesn't yell at us again?
Honestly, a lot of credit card companies would be better off if their question they asked before putting out a product was, how do we not get Matt Clausen to make a video about us yelling?
JetBlue,
that's
Barclay.
a badge of honor. That's a badge of honor, Matt.
Yeah. I do find it funny if Richard's watched my stuff and has been like, yo, why is he so pissed?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I ruffle some feathers over at Bill, but I'm going to be there. I
Yeah.
don't work for them. And I have a responsibility as a creator and as a human being. I have the right to speak my opinion and my truth. So,
Oh, yeah.
but the whole double dip rent thing / mortgage thing, it's a good deal, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. If y'all aren't taking advantage of that, is a good deal.
Make hay while the sun shines. All right. So how do you separate personal goals in the credit card game from giving advice and having an interest in the credit card community? I have made my niche outside of the podcast just being like the news guy. Like I'm not here to dole out card advice. I'm not here to tell you how to optimize your setup. I'm not here to tell you like all the ins and outs and how to squeeze every last penny out of your credit card habit. I'm here to just tell you, yo, Virgin just dropped their credit card and they just put a 60,000 point welcome offer on it. It's through Synchrony. Do with that what you will, but here's the new Virgin card. This is what I can tell you. Here's the latest from Chase. And then I will give you opinion based on what I think is happening or looking at the sphere in general and just kind of piecing together as best I can. That's speculation station. But tidbits, it's just news. It's just what I see is what you get, and I pepper in my opinion along the way. I do think that in the community, you have your personal goals, and like I keep my personal goals relatively under wraps, especially on the channel. But in the Discord, yes, I will talk about what cards I'm looking at, how I'm looking to utilize my points. But it's not like because I'm doing this, you have to follow my lead. I never take the approach of come with me, I know better, because I don't. I can tell you all things about current cards. Like I'm well versed on what's happening with cards. I can tell you that like the Qatar cardless relationship is not going the way Qatar was hoping because they have to keep doing 100,000 point welcome offers on those cards. I can tell you that the Avianca and cardless relationship is just not going well. I can tell you that cardless right now seems to be struggling based on everything that I'm seeing from the cards associated with them. I can tell you that JetBlue doesn't have a clue what they're doing in terms of creating a premier experience for their credit cards. Like it looks like they might starting to fix it with this United project, but like when it comes to their cards, the Plus card is good, the Business card is good, the Premier card is terrible. Like I can give advice in terms of what are you looking to do, how are you looking to start, where are you looking to go, what is your end game, what points are your end game. Like I need to book at IHG. Cool. For IHG, you got Chase, you got Built, You can always buy IHG points to pull things together for that final redemption if you have to. IHG points go on sale 0.5 cent per point all the time. Just make sure that you're using top cashback when you're doing that, or using Rove miles, and you can start stacking Rove miles on top of the purchase and getting whatever IHG points you're doing. Like, strategy and news and opinion is like the niche that I've garnered for myself. So like, I don't look at giving individual advice outside of the Discord, but even then in the Discord, it's a collective thing where here's my 2 cents, but RJ's 2 cents are going to be right there. Lonnie's 2 cents are going to be right there. Goes math is going to be right there. And then there's always the other challenging question and the devil's advocate question. But like, that is workshopping an answer to a problem. That's not giving advice and expecting that your advice is the be all end all. So I've created this caricature of myself, the world's biggest Sapphire Preferred hater, right? But I'll tell you if the Sapphire Preferred is a card that works for you. I'll tell you whether or not, 9 times out of 10, it probably isn't. You'll be far happier with the Sapphire Reserve. But
you can get everything on the preferred
with the build card. Yes.
Card.
I will bring up the build card, and I will tell you that I have issues with the build company, but
You can't get the customer service though.
Yep. Chase does win on customer service. Do you like talking to people? Do you like having your questions answered? Then Built is not for you. If you like do your own adventure, Built is great. If you are a dungeon master in your spare time or with a group of friends, Built is the card for you. If you like having general answers to questions and being able to contact someone, then go with Chase. But again, like, I can separate things pretty easily for me. But I've also that's always been like the approach that I've taken since joining this community. It's just been like, there's my personal stuff. Y'all don't need to necessarily know all of it. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I need help with. I'll ask for help. I'll ask for advice, but I don't usually push my personal goals into giving advice because, one, I prefer to fly JetBlue. Not a whole lot of people are going to have access to JetBlue. It would be stupid for me to push advice when that's not an option. Two, my hotel options are like Hyatt, Hilton. You want Marriott? I can't help you. I don't like the Marriott program. I can't tell you what a good point value is for Marriott because I'd rather pay for Marriott outside of Marriott because Bonvoy annoys me that much.
Fun fact, I'm staying at a Marriott in the end of June, and I went through the Delta portal for it because I didn't have to deal with Marriott Bonvoy, and that made me so happy.
Wonderful properties. Terrible program. So, yeah, I keep that wall pretty well defined, but yeah, can see how it can be clouded sometimes.
No, I appreciate you both. It's an interesting thing, right? Like, we all have our views on something, and then somebody will ask a question, and you have to put on your thinking cap. I will say to anybody who's ever talked to Matt, you will understand very quickly that the Rolodex of information in his head is both terrifying and awe-inspiring in equal measures.
Trust me, I know. Well, thanks, RJ, for that topic. Thanks, Lonnie. And thank